On June 17th, 1994, a real-life soap opera unfolded before an entire nation's eyes. Upwards of 95 million people watched as Orenthal James Simpson became the most wanted fugitive in the country. The murders of Nicole Brown and Mark Goldman pointed directly at Simpson as the killer. But with a trial that became a sideshow and circus and major prosecution gaffes, O.J. Simpson walked out of the courtroom and right to the golf course. Not guilty was the verdict. 20 years later, many people still ask how that was possible. In this presentation, I hope to remind and persuade my audience that Simpson was in fact guilty of these murders. Longtime friend and former teammate of O.J. Simpson, Al Callings, drove a white Ford Bronco, seen above here, as O.J. Simpson hid in the back seat. This chase played out on the 405 freeway, heading from Los Angeles to San Diego and eventually Mexico. In the back seat with Simpson was a fake beard, $3,000 cash, and a passport, clearly showing that Simpson was heading towards the border. Simpson had agreed to turn himself in to LA police at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, but instead bolted with Callings. Simpson left behind an apparent suicide letter. Friend and lawyer Robert Kardashian read the opening. To whom it may concern. The letter continued and eventually ended. Don't feel sorry for me. I've had a great life, great friends. Please think of the real OJ and not this lost person. Thanks for making my life special. I hope I helped yours. Peace and love. OJ. The letter seemed as an indirect way to say, I did it. The chase finally ended at Simpson's mansion. Simpson, after an hour's standoff with the cops, Callings, and his son, would eventually go inside, call his mother, drink a glass of juice, and eventually head downtown towards the Parker Center under arrest. The Bronco chase to this day remains one of the most viewed programs in American television history. One word comes to mind when you review O.J. Simpson's actions from June 17th, 1994, and that word is desperation. Many people became household names for the wrong reasons due to the O.J. Simpson trial. Kato Kalin, Judge Ito, Johnny Cochran, the Goldman family, the Brown family, and Kardashians all became household names. O.J. Simpson had seemed to have it all. Along with being an up-and-coming actor and spokesperson, he was a Hall of Fame running back and a former Heisman Trophy winner. He met Nicole Brown Simpson in 1977. They eventually got married in the mid-'80s and had 2 kids together. But what was happy eventually turned to darkness. The relationship became abusive, with O.J. abusing Nicole, with 911 calls coming as evidence. Divorce came in 1992. Nicole Brown Simpson eventually told her best friend Kris Jenner a quote that Kris Jenner repeated on Dateline NBC last week. O.J. is going to kill me, and he's going to get away with it. Little did she know how true that foreshadowing would be. If it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Johnny Cochran's famous words from the trial. TMZ's founder, Harvey Levin, was working for Court TV at the time, and he said in the Jim Rome radio program on CBS Sports Network, the glove was the most bizarre thing. You give this guy, who's an actor, with latex gloves on and say, put this glove on, knowing that if the jury sees it, you're going to be convicted of murder. What do you think he's going to do? Simpson obviously struggled to put the glove on due to the fact that he had latex on and leather shrinks. As for the gloves, the left glove was found at the murder scene, while the right glove was found at Simpson's mansion. The Aris Light XL gloves were bought by Nicole Brown in 1990 for O.J. Simpson. The gloves were seen during his NFL broadcast on NBC and at a Buffalo Bill game in 1993. Gary Sims, a California Department of Justice criminalist who also helped establish the DNA lab, testified that the glove found at Simpson's house tested positive for a blood match of Goldman's. The question, why try on the gloves? When wet, leather shrinks, and these gloves were soaked in blood. And not only were the gloves soaked, but the prosecution had Simpson try on the gloves while wearing latex. Certainly a recipe for disaster. DNA is defined by dictionary.com as the fundamental and distinctive characteristics or qualities of someone or something, especially when regarded as unchangeable. A pair of gloves, one found at the crime scene, the other at Simpson's house. The blood matched the victims. This is known as evidence. Trial and error. Mark Fuhrman. With all the evidence presented before and DNA directly linking Simpson to the murders, the trial seemed like a slam dunk at the time. What could possibly go wrong? Enter former LA police detective Mark Fuhrman. Fuhrman testified that he had not used a racial slur in 10 years and branded anyone who made that claim a liar. But after tape surfaced of Fuhrman using the racial slur, he would use the Fifth Amendment right when asked questions such as, "Did you plant the evidence?" Chaos caused. Between Fuhrman and the before-mentioned glove, the prosecution found a big problem on their hands. Cochran calls him crooked. Simpson's lead lawyer and leader of his dream team pounced on this. How was the jury supposed to know if the evidence was planted or not by Fuhrman if he was billed as a racist? With Fuhrman being penned as a racist, was he just out to frame Simpson, or was he in fact doing his job? In my opinion, and many others, the reasons listed above are why O.J. Simpson walked out of that courtroom a free man. This was a true injustice. The aftermath. Injustice. With DNA and witness testimony firmly against Simpson, he still managed to walk away a free man. From the courtroom to the courthouse. From the courthouse to the course. Simpson had promised to spend the days following the trial searching for the real killer. Instead, the Juice would spend most of his time on the golf course, carousing with his buddies, while the Browns and Goldmans continued to search for closure on the murders and peace for their families. The civil trial. In 1997, Simpson was found responsible for the murders of Nicole Brown and Goldman. The families of Brown and Goldman were awarded $33.5 million in damages. This also gave the families some much-needed closure to the situation, seeing O.J. Simpson told he was responsible in the court of law. Where is O.J. now? Simply put, the Juice is in prison. According to Wikipedia, exactly 13 years to the day after he was acquitted of the murders, Simpson was found guilty of 10 charges stemming from a Las Vegas robbery of sports memorabilia. The LA Times called The People versus O.J. Simpson the trial of the century. This case became a national obsession to many. 20 years later, the trial, the cast of characters, and the controversy still resonates to this day. The guilt, the DNA, the evidence, the lies should have led to the proper verdict. Guilty. Desperation, evidence, and injustice. 3 words that link O.J. Simpson to the murders 20 years ago. Thank you.